Alright, Trickies and Trickers, now it's time for the second episode review of the day, Heart of Stone. Returning from security consultations at Prophet's Landing, a Bajoran colony near the Cardassian border, Kira and Odo talk on the USS Mekong. Odo's upset that Kira did not allow him to turn down an invitation to dinner with the colony's governor, Avesta. Kira's incredulous over this, given that Odo does not eat, but he explains that he would have liked the chance to voice his opinion. Soon, they detect a Maquis attack in progress on a Lecepian cargo ship. They pursue the attacking ship, a modifier Peregrine-class courier ship in their runabout. Due to prevailing conditions, their pursuit takes them down to the surface of an unstable moon located near the Badlands with an atmosphere that's impenetrable to sensors. On the station, Nog is in ops, asking O'Brien if he could see Commander Sisko on an urgent matter, and he sent him to the commander's office. Nog comes bearing a quantity of platinum, which he gives to Sisko because according to Ferengi statute, Nog has completed the Ferengi attainment ceremony and is now an age where he must purchase an apprenticeship. Since he considers Sisko a mentor, he says, Sisko's the one whom he intends to make the purchase. He wants to become a Starfleet officer and asks where he can pick up his uniform. Sisko explains in brief that Nog first needs to graduate from Starfleet Academy. However, as Nog is not a Federation citizen, he needs a letter of reference from a command-level officer before he can take the entrance exam. Since Sisko is just such an officer, Nog assumes Sisko will provide the reference, but Sisko says he'll think about it. Throughout the conversation, the two are pushing a stack of Nog's platinum back and forth across the commander's desk. On the alien moon, Odo and Kira track the fugitive to a cave network and witness severe seismic activity. Since they need to get to cover ground quickly looking for the Maquis fugitive, they split up. Soon afterwards, Odo receives a combat signal from Kira who's trapped in one of the caves. When Odo finds Kira, her right foot is completely stuck in some sort of crystal formation that grows spontaneously. Odo suggests that Kira remove her foot from her boot, but she tells him the crystal is too tight. The crystal can't be smashed either, so Kira decides to try shooting it with a phaser. However, this only causes the crystal to go faster as it feeds off the phaser energy. Odo says it's time to leave and tries to contact the Mekong to be transported, but the moon's interference prevents the runabout from responding. Odo decides to head back to the Mekong and try transporting Kira from there. Back on the station, Jake catches up with Nog at Quark's, under the impression that Nog's interview with his father was a joke. Nog angrily assures Jake that nothing could be further from the truth, extracting a promise that Jake will go back to his father. Jake back assertion that it was a joke. Jake is confused and asks for an explanation, but Nog refuses to give him one, mentioning this personal and tells him he's very busy repairing his uncle's malfunctioning replicator system. Meanwhile, Odo returns to runabout and attempts to beam Kira out of her entrapment, only to discover that the nature of the moon's atmosphere makes it impossible to operate transporters or send a distress signal directly from the runabout. With other options, Odo launches communications buoy into orbit. However, even with optimum conditions, it'll take 2 days for the distress signal to reach Deep Space Nine, and it's clear that the crystal will completely consume Kira well before then. As he's returning to Kira's location, he hears phaser fire, which Kira tells him was on account of the reappearance of the Maquis they've been chasing. Examining the phaser blasts on a rock near Kira, Odo tells the Major the Maquis did not miss her by much. My lucky day, she ruefully says. On the upper level of the promenade, Nog calls Sisko outside Quark's and asks if he's decided to write the letter of reference. Faced with Nog's persistence, Sisko tells Nog unambiguously that he doesn't consider Nog a candidate for a mission to the Academy, considering his less than stellar reputation on the station. But Nog wants nothing more than a chance to prove that he's better than Sisko's assessment suggests. With this in mind, Nog tells Argea Dax to assign Nog to a cargo bay inventory. Dax is strictly skeptical, but Sisko wants to give Nog a fair chance to live up to his promises, and exactly what he'll get. With no help, no interference, no one looking over his shoulder. Dax points out they've already taken inventory of that cargo bay last month, which Sisko says makes the perfect test. They'll know if anything goes missing. On the moon, Kira's still stuck. Working from information provided in one of the criminal activity reports, Odo comes up with an idea for freeing her. If he could build an ultrasonic generator for the runabout's covariant oscillator, he may be able to find a frequency that could shatter the crystal. He's back to the Mekong to pick up the oscillator. In the cargo bay, Dax tells Nog the previous inventory was lost due to computer errors and they need a fresh report. Nog is initially surprised he's been left to do the entire bay alone, but Dax tells him Starfleet isn't just exploring and adventuring, but a lot of times it's just plain hard work. Nog assures Dax this won't be a problem and takes the opportunity with extreme enthusiasm. telling Dax he'll have the inventory report completed before Cisco goes off duty. Dax tells him the next morning will be just fine. The generator has been available with Odo and Kara waiting for to show positive results. No explains that he's been going to Holosuite with Chief O'Brien and witnessing O'Brien's fascination with kayaking. In the meantime, an earthquake strikes and the cave threatens to collapse in on them. Odo changes form to protect Kira from falling rocks. After the earthquake ends, Odo continues talking with her at a personal level. In the Replimat, Cisco and Dax are reviewing Nox's performance in the inventory, which was excellent. Dax knows that he not only finished it in under 5 hours, but new items that the crew missed during the previous inventory. Cisco remarks that all the experience Nog gained from taking inventory in Quark's back room has now paid off. However, both of them were still completely in the dark about Nog's true involvement for joining Starfleet. The ultrasonic generator has gone through the entire spectrum of frequencies but has had no success with shattering the crystal, much to Odo's confusion. The crystal went up to Kira's neck and she can barely breathe. Desperate to take her mind off the situation, she asks how Odo got his name. Odo explains that when Dr. Maura Paul brought him to the laboratory, he was required to label everything for the ease of his Cardassian overseers. As he didn't know what Odo was, in fact, he didn't even know Odo was sentient, labeled him unknown sample, which the Cardassians traded to Odo Latal, which means nothing in their language. Even after Odo was discovered to be sentient, the Bajoran scientists still called him that, but made it into 2 words like Bajoran names, with Odo Ital eventually just becoming Odo. Even afterwards, when anyone still used it, Odo still remembered what it meant. He was nothing and had nothing. However, serving him being on deep space on other Bajorans in Starfleet made him feel differently about himself and now feels like a person. It's now clear the ultrasonic generator isn't going to work, and Odo can't help but feel something isn't right with the situation, and so the generator should have failed. Kira tells him that the cave is going to collapse any second, and the Maquis is likely already dead from the early quakes. There's no reason for him to stay and die as well. She then orders Odo to leave her. Odo refuses to abandon Kira, goes so far as to resign his commission rather than obey that order. Odo has no more composure begins to crack on the situation, and finally tells Kira the truth. He is in love with her. He waits for a response, and surprised when she tells him she's in love with him too. Nog is sent to Commander Sisko's office, where Sisko explains that he needs to turn down Nog's request for a reference. Sisko explains that Nog's just not Academy material and believes he wouldn't be able to cope with the workload or the discipline. Nog firstly points out he showed himself to be a hard worker, but Sisko implacably states he can't afford to risk any of his reputation on Nog's whim. His voice is raised. Sisko demands a straight answer. Pushed to a corner, Nog finally tells Sisko point blank, "I don't want to end up like my father!" Nog goes on to point out that his father shows every sign of being a brilliant engineer, but doesn't have the lobes for the business life that is expected of Ferengi, and neither does he. On his current path, Rom has nothing in the future to look forward to except working at Quark's rest of his life with the slim chance of inheriting the bar if Quark dies first. Nog is anxious to avoid his father's fate, and is fixed on joining Starfleet exactly because that will give him one of his best likely chances to use the talents he does have. Having finally gotten a straight explanation of Nog's motivations, seeing that his reasons for joining Starfleet are genuine, Sisko changes his mind and promises Nog his reference. Nog is overjoyed, but Sisko reminds him that he's still got a lot of work ahead of him if he's to become an officer, to which Nog reaffirms that he is up to the challenge. Not as the alien moon reached their denouement, Odo's been thinking about things that Kira's told him, and they don't add up. First of all, he points out the phaser marks on the cave wall. With the Maquis' position in the cave, for any shot, there's no way he could have made them without hitting Kira. He also knows that Kira's admission of love for him was a lie, much as he would like her to. In the years they've known each other, he has never noticed she had any kind of romantic feelings for him. Kira suggests that she might have lied to him to make him feel better, but Odo knows Kira would never lie to him for any reason. He points the phaser and demands to know where the real Kira is. Kira changes form into the female changeling who compliments Odo on his superb investigation skills. She confesses that there never was a Maquis. She was piloting the ship Odo and Kira were chasing, and she did all because she wanted to understand fully why Odo rejected the Great Link and suspected that Kira was part of the reason. A suspicion has now been confirmed. Plans to make Odo think that Kira died. By taking away his link to the solids, he would rejoin his people. Odo insists that he will never join them, but the female changeling insists he will sometime. Odo makes it clear he's willing to shoot, but the female changeling tells him that no changeling has ever harmed another. Odo refuses to back down. The female changeling tells him Kira's location, but warns him she will never return his feelings before being transported away. Another earthquake hits, and the cave finally begins to collapse. Odo locates Kira trapped in a pod and gets her out. The two then run back to the Mekong. Back on the station, Odo tells Kira what happened, but pretends that the female changeling only impersonated her since she was with him at the time. She asks what made him realize the truth, and says that the changeling said something he knew Kira would never say. When she asks what, he claims it was a slip of the tongue, nothing important. In Quark violently refuses to allow Nog to join Starfleet Academy, only for him to speak up and say that Quark may be his boss. Rom has the final word in matters concerning his own son. Quark impatiently tells Rom to tell Nog he can't leave Deep Space Nine, only for Rom to wish his son luck and say he'll be very proud if Nog becomes the first Ferengi to join Starfleet. Like father, like son, Nog tells his father. Oh, that's very sweet. So let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. The title of the episode comes from and the plot was partly inspired by William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. This episode marks the beginning of Nog's journey to become a Starfleet officer. It is revealed that a non-Federation citizen, in order to be admitted to Starfleet Academy, needs a reference from a command-level officer. The female changeling here fulfills a promise to visit Odo, which she made in the Surge Part 2. The origin of Odo's name is revealed in this episode. This is the first episode in the series in which Odo handles a weapon. This episode confirms that Rom is a skilled engineer, something which was hinted at in the second season episode Necessary Evil, and something which would be revisited throughout the 5th, 6th, and 7th seasons, after Rom becomes a junior engineer in Bar Association. Odo's revelation that he loves Kira is actually the first time he has revealed this information. It had been hinted at in several episodes, such as The Collaborator Meridian, and Lorok Suntraya guessed it in Fascination, but Odo himself had never admitted to it until this episode. Ensign Felix Pran is mentioned for the first time in this episode, who will be mentioned again in the 5th season episodes Apocalypse Thriving and Business as Usual, but viewers never see him on screen. Remember in this episode that Brian suffered kayaking, first revealed in the TNG episode Transfigurations, is still alive and well. This is the first episode in which Rom openly defies Quark. The scene will continue a profit motive and family business, and will ultimately culminate in Bar Association. Sloan Jen is considered to be listed in the end credits rather than the beginning credits so as not to spoil the surprise. She was credited as special guest star rather than guest star as she had been in previous and subsequent appearances. Reference Rules of Acquisition number 18. A Ferengi with no profit is no Ferengi at all. Interesting. So overall, I think this episode is actually pretty good, and yeah, I do like the fact that Nog is trying to, step out of his father's shadow and do something different with his life. And yeah, everything that went on with Kira and Odo in the cave, yeah, I pretty much figured that, yeah, that wasn't real Kira anyway, so there you go. So overall, I give Heart of Stone 3 warp cores out of 5. When I tune in bed as we take a look at the next episode, Destiny. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.